Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of my 3-gun vlog. This episode focusing on the shotgun again. Well, basically, it's a Remington 870, but like most of the modern ones, it's got the long slide on the front here that I don't care for because, one, it tends to get in the way when I go to load. I'm bumping against it. And two, when it's open, opens the action, but it actually covers my load gate. So I'm going to try taking it all apart. I should be able to do that. And then I'm going to see if I can use a rotary tool to cut this down, round out the edges and soften it up a bit. And that should make it easier to load when the action's open or closed. And it might also help me float an additional round in the receiver, bringing my total up to, I believe, 11 for this firearm off the hop when I'm doing 3-gun competitions. So stick around and we'll see if it works, and if not, then I guess this will turn into a comedy video. Okay, so we got the pump off the shotgun. All that's left is to get the plastic off of this little metal tube that actually slides up and down your magazine. It's just a little metal, sort of a ring that keeps it all on there. It's got 2 slots in it. A lot of companies make actually a special tool to spin that off. I, of course, am cheap and don't have that tool. But not to fear, you can always just use, something flat like a little screwdriver or something to get in there and spin it off. You just have to be cautious that you don't beat up the threads too bad. And this, of course, is the slower way to do it. And getting it back on especially, you have to be cautious to make sure you get it tight enough. Let's see here. It's loose enough I can get it with my thumb, I think. Ta-da! And then this just comes out, and there you have it. So, luckily for me, inside there's actually a little bit of a guide as to where I want to cut it. If you look, it'll be right along this edge, and then right along the tops of these little splines in there. So just got to get in there with a rotary tool, cut it as straight as I can, and really just kind of hope for the best because I am completely freehanding it here. So, worst case it looks like hell. Let's see how it works out for me. Okay, now we're ready for the exciting part. I'm going to be using a rotary tool with a little cutoff wheel. As always, make sure you're not wearing any jewelry. Roll up your sleeves so nothing gets caught. And as always, safety glasses are very important. Especially with these little cutoff discs, because when they blow up, they really blow up, and it's usually quite a show. So safety glasses are just cheap insurance against bad accidents. Let's get after it here. Okay, so I broke off the cutting wheel, which probably my own fault for just getting a little bit rammy, but it wasn't quite big enough. It was actually the side of the rotary tool was rubbing, and I wasn't able to get the depth, so I switched to a larger one. This one I think is actually meant for more metal cutting, but I feel like that'll also work through plastic. Last thing I've really got to do here is try and pull out the last little bits of the broke off cutting wheel that's stuck into this melted plastic. Otherwise, my old cutting tool will damage my new cutting tool. So, funny how that works, but looks like I got it more or less cleaned out. Let's give it a try, see if it works. Not the prettiest, but I think I can clean that up quite a bit and see if I can kind of hide my crimes a bit. But let me switch out to a different end and see if I can make it work. Worst case, a new one of these from a reputable company is like 50 bucks, so this is more of a fun project. Alright, so I've got my little sanding wheel on here. I'm going to see if I can smooth this out and make it look nice. Alright, so got it all sanded down. I used the barrel sander on that. Just basically sandpaper in a tube, hitting it with the rotary tool. I'm going to try going to something a little smoother, this little stone guy here, and see if I can make this just a little more pleasant and kind of use the pointed end of it to get in here and clean up some of this. I have a lot of melting from the actual cutoff, so we'll see how it goes. Well, I would call that done like dinner. It's not the prettiest, but it actually feels really smooth, which is all I'm after. So when you're loading, you're not banging your knuckles on any sharp edges. And yeah, so I just got to put it back together and make sure I didn't take out too much or do something else silly and, you know, break it. Another thing is the cutoff. I'm going to hold on to this, and I'm going to see what my soldering iron does to it, because I might try my hand at stippling. So, you know, make sure you like and subscribe and all that so you can see my next ridiculous project that's out of my league, but, you know, I'm going to jump into it anyhow. Alright, I'll put it back together and we'll see how it works. Well, not exactly shocking, but it all works. All came together. Racks with no issues. Doesn't cover the load port, that way when the action's open, I can load it. I just got to be cautious that I'm, you know, doing this at the start of a match, not mid-match, because that load gate comes way down, so it's real easy to miss the magazine and just get caught up in the action. So, you know, at the start when you're loading it, it's always nice to have the action open, but then you can also push that back down, drop one in the action, throw one more. Throw one more down low, and then when you close it, you've actually got one floating in your action and one in the chamber on top of, in this case, the 9 that I can hold in my extension. And that just gives you one extra one off the hop to kind of help make things easier. That one would come out. And then that ghost loaded one goes in. Easy peasy. And now while I'm loading it, I've got a lot of clearance after the fact, so that when you're running 2, you go in, of course, kind of holding it backwards to show this, but when you go to run 2 in, oh, left-handed, you don't have any issues. You've got enough room for your hand to sit back here without catching this. It's just nice smooth flow, and that is going to be very helpful. Anyway, that's it for this video. Stay tuned. Maybe next week I'll try my hand at stippling or some other crazy project. I'll let you know. Just make sure you subscribe. That's the key here.